Hey everyone, welcome back into the Birdland Network where we talk all things Orioles and Major League Baseball, and we're back with a brand new video today. Of course, the Major League Baseball winter meetings are in full effect down in Dallas. Of course, the Orioles, Mike Elias, are down there trying to make moves to help this team get better for next year. And they actually did a couple moves before the winter meetings over the weekend started. They signed a couple players that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk a little bit about those players, how they fit into the team, my thoughts on those players, whether or not I think it's a good deal, bad deal, and we'll kind of get into that. But before we do that, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Just hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way every time we go live or do a new video, you'll be notified. And if you could, give us a thumbs up. So yeah, the Orioles did make a couple of moves. Pretty good moves. One of them kind of a filler for sure, and the other one was a kind of a bigger move for also for the Mike Elias regime. So let's kind of get into those. We'll start with the lesser deal first. The Orioles, in principle, have agreed to a one-year contract with catcher Gary Sanchez. Now, both of these deals, let me just preface this, both of these deals, neither one of them have been confirmed officially by the Orioles yet, pending physicals and things of that nature, but sources are confirming these deals have been agreed upon and they'll be inked soon enough, just waiting for them to pass their physicals. But the first one, the Orioles have come to a one-year agreement with catcher Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez, I think last year was with the White Sox. Of course, he's very prominent. He had a lot of time with the Yankees. He was actually an Oriole killer for sure. Did real well against the Orioles a lot. But Gary Sanchez is going to be the backup catcher for the Orioles in 2025, backing up Adley Rutschman. This, of course, will mean the end of his time here with James McCann. Kind of knew that was coming. I think McCann, as much as he was popular in the clubhouse with the team, which I think he'll have a direct advantage over Gary Sanchez in that respect, his numbers offensively dropped. He wasn't much of a help offensively and defensively. He was fine, but he was definitely a drop offensively. Gary Sanchez, 1 year, $8.5 million deal with the O's. He's 32 years old. Oddly enough, and I didn't know this, and maybe you did, he's the fastest catcher to 100 home runs in Major League Baseball history. I didn't know that. I do think he's a really good backup for the Orioles. He's going to produce better than James McCann did offensively. Obviously, he can DH, and he might even be able to play a little first base if needed. I don't see that happening, but if needed, there's a little flexibility there. And not only that, it's a one-year deal. If he doesn't perform well, doesn't perform to the expectations of the Orioles, he's a free agent after the season anyway. So I think this is just a stopgap to get them ready for possibly Samuel Basallo or some of those other catchers that are down in the farm system. Kind of a bridge to get to those guys. But I like the Gary Sanchez signing. What he brings inside the clubhouse, I don't think will match what McCann did, because again, McCann was very popular with the team, was a good leader, good mentor to the younger players. Maybe Sanchez does bring that. I don't know. But offensively, production-wise, I think he will be an upgrade over James McCann. So that was the first deal. That's the smaller deal. The bigger deal, of course, again, sources have confirmed. The Orioles haven't confirmed it yet, but I'm sure they will, that the Orioles have signed Tyler O'Neill to a 3-year, $49.5 million deal. Now, of course, it's contingent on him passing a physical. The deal does also include an opt-out after the 2025 year. So, this could be a one-year deal, just depending upon how well he plays. But this is big for the Orioles because, especially the Mike Elias regime, this is the first time they've given out a multi-year big contract like this to any free agent since he's been the GM of the Orioles, which I thought was kind of weird. I thought about that for a while and was like, wow, I guess he hasn't given out any deals. But this is the first one of what I assume will be a few more to come. But again, $49.5 million deal. There is an opt-out after 2025, so it could be a one-year deal. We'll see. What I like about O'Neill is a little bit younger than Anthony Santander. Obviously, let me kind of go back for a second. I think this obviously sets the tone for Orioles fans to understand that the Orioles are not going to be re-signing Anthony Santander, that they've moved on from him at this point. This is your replacement for him in right field, obviously. At least that's how I see it. Maybe they'll make another move. Maybe he'll come back, but I don't think so. I think this shows that they're moving on from Santander. But what's funny enough about Tyler is he's very similar to Santander when you just look at the raw numbers. Over his last 3 years alone, Tyler O'Neill, production-wise, has been 14 home runs, 228 average, 9 home runs, 231 average, 31 home runs. Last year with the Red Sox, had a real good year last year, but he batted 241. He does have, for what it's worth, a 336 on-base percentage last year with the Red Sox. Hopefully that's a good sign. That on-base percentage of 336 would have been second on the Orioles, only behind Gunnar Henderson if he was on the Orioles last year. So there's something to be said for that. His 12.6 WAR was better than Santander's at 11.1. Also, O'Neill does have 2 Gold Gloves, so he's a good defender, and he's going to be part of that 4-man rotation in the outfield for sure. He's going to get the bulk of the starts out in right field probably. But I think it's a good addition. Not much of a base stealer. He did steal 14 bases back in 2022, but only 4 last year. But his on-base percentage is a little bit higher than Santander's, but he's 29. Santander was 30. He's not a switch hitter, but hopefully he'll give the Orioles some power and be a guy that gets on base a little bit more. That was the one thing about Santander that I didn't like very much, is he wasn't an on-base guy. It seemed like he was all or nothing. But 3 years, $49.5 million for Tyler O'Neill. I think it's a good deal for the Orioles. It's a lot cheaper than they would have had to pay for Anthony Santander, who's looking at something around the size of like a 6 to 7 year, $150 million deal, maybe even more. So this guy will give you similar numbers to an extent, a little bit better defensively, and a lot cheaper. And again, if things don't work out after 1 year, there is an opt-out. So there's no real long-term commitment with Tyler O'Neill. So we'll see if this works out for him. The one thing I will say, the one downside that I see, and I think everybody else sees when it comes to Tyler O'Neill, is his availability. He does have injury concerns, which was one of the reasons why I took a step back when the Orioles made this signing, because I looked at it. He does miss time. Last year he played in 113 games for the Red Sox, which was the most in his career, second most in his career, behind his 2021 season when he played in 138 games. Other than that, he's had a lot of injuries over his career. Last year alone, he was on the injury list on the IL 3 times, 3 trips to the IL last year for the Red Sox. He's been on the injured list 14 times in his career. So there are some injury concerns there when you look at him. But we will see what happens with that. If he stays healthy, I think he'll be a good fit. I think he'll be a fine replacement for Santander, and I think he'll put up some pretty good numbers. When you look at his percentile rankings, not bad. You can look at them across the board. Here they are right here. You'll see them. Here's the numbers right here. Not bad numbers whatsoever. Barrel rate, hard hit rate, bat speed. His whiff rate could be better. His K rate could be better. He does walk, which is good. He does take pitches. He walks. And obviously, his arm strength and his fielding is pretty good. This guy overall is going to be a pretty good player for the Orioles, and I'm really happy about it. When you look at his spray chart last year alone, I think we got to take this into account, the fact that he was playing at Fenway Park, but he was definitely a major pull hitter last year. A lot of his hits did go to the left side across the board. He wasn't really a guy that went the other way very much at all, but he's an up-the-middle guy and definitely a pull hitter, which now that the Orioles have moved the fence in a little bit in left field, I think that plays to his advantage, and we'll see how that goes as well. But I'm happy with the move overall. I think he'll help the Orioles. I think he'll fit right in, and I think this is going to be a good replacement. I don't think it's a great replacement because Santander is another one of those guys as well that had a really good relationship with the team. They really loved him. So we'll see how all this works out. But there you go. 2 signings so far for the Orioles. Gary Sanchez, Tyler O'Neill are going to be officially welcomed to Birdland any day now, I'm sure. And I'm sure there's other moves coming. And when they do, we'll be talking about them. And if you've made it this far, again, thank you for being here. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Just hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. And give us a thumbs up on your way out. Definitely helps. And it's free. Doesn't cost anything. Thanks for being here, folks. Appreciate you. Be sure to leave a comment. Want to hear from you. What do you think about these 2 moves from the O's? Good moves? Bad moves? Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. But until next time, keep rooting for the O's or your team. And take care of yourselves and each other. Bye now.